Rosanne Cash is an American singer-songwriter and author. She is the eldest daughter of country music icon Johnny Cash and his first wife, Vivian Liberto Cash Distin. Although Cash is often classified as a country artist, her music draws on many genres, including folk, pop, rock, blues, and most notably Americana. In the 1980s, she had a string of chart-topping singles, which crossed musical genres and landed on both the country and pop charts, the most commercially successful being her 1981 breakthrough hit 7-Year Ache, which topped the U.S. country singles charts and reached a top 30 on the U.S. pop singles charts. In 1990, Cash released Interiors, a spare, introspective album which signaled a break from her pop country past. The following year Cash ended her marriage and moved from Nashville to New York City, where she continues to write, record and perform. Since 1991 she has released 5 albums, written 2 books and edited a collection of short stories. Her fiction and essays have been published in the New York Times, Rolling Stone, the Oxford American, New York Magazine, and various other periodicals and collections. She won a Grammy in 1985 for I Don't Know Why You Don't Want Me, and has received 12 other Grammy nominations. She has had 11 #1 country hit singles, 21 top 40 country singles and 2 gold records. Cash was the 2014 recipient of Smithsonian Magazine's American Ingenuity Award in the Performing Arts category. On February 8, 2015, Cash won 3 Grammy Awards for Best Americana Album for The River and the Thread, Best American Roots Song with John Leventhal and Best American Roots Performance for A Feather's Not a Bird. Cash was honored further on October 11, 2015 when she was inducted into the Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame. She was portrayed, as a child, by Haley Ann Nelson in Walk the Line, the 2005 Academy Award-winning film about her father's life. Early life: Cash was born in Memphis, Tennessee in 1955, just as father Johnny was recording his first tracks at Sun Records. The family moved to California in 1958. First to Los Angeles, then Ventura, where Cash and her sisters were raised by mother Vivian. After graduating from St. Bonaventure High School, she joined her father's roadshow for 2.5 years, first as a wardrobe assistant, then as a background vocalist and occasional soloist. She made her studio recording debut on Johnny Cash's 1974 album The Junkie and the Jewess Had Minus Me, singing lead vocal on a version of Chris Christopherson's Broken Freedom song. In 1976, Johnny Cash recorded the Rosanne Cash composition Love Has Lost Again on his album One Piece at a Time. Though she did not appear on this track, it was Rosanne Cash's first professionally recorded work as a composer. That same year, she briefly worked for CBS Records in London before returning to Nashville to study English and drama at Vanderbilt University. She then relocated to Los Angeles to study at the Lee Strasberg Theatre Institute in Hollywood. She recorded a demo in January 1978 with Emmylou Harris songwriter sideman Rodney Crowell, which led to a full album with German label Orilla Records. Music career 1978 to 1980, first American release her self-titled debut album was recorded in 1978, but Orilla never released it in the United States, and it has since become a collector's item. Mainly recorded and produced in Munich, Germany with German-based musicians, it also included 3 tracks recorded in Nashville and produced by Crowell. Though Cash was unhappy with the album, it attracted the attention of Columbia Records, who offered her a recording contract. She began playing with Crowell's band the Cherry Bombs in California clubs. Crowell and Cash married in 1979, and Cash started work on her first Columbia LP. The album, Right or Wrong, was released in early 1980, and produced 3 top 25 singles. The first, No Memories Hangin' Around, a duet with country singer Bobby Bare, reached 17 on the country singles chart in 1979. It was followed by Couldn't Do Nothing Right, and Take Me in 1980. Cash, pregnant with her first child, was unable to tour in support of the album, which was nevertheless a critical success. Cash and Crowell moved to Nashville in 1981. 1981 to 1989, critical and commercial success equals, Cash's career picked up considerable momentum with the release of her second album, 7-Year Ache, in 1981. The album achieved critical raves and solid sales, and the title track was a #1 hit on the Billboard Country chart, and crossed over to the Billboard Pop chart, peaking at number 22. The album yielded 2 additional #1 country hits, My Baby Thinks He's a Train, and Blue Moon with Heartache, and was certified gold by the RIAA. Cash's third album, Somewhere in the Stars, was considered a disappointment after the commercial success of 7-Year Ache. The album still reached the top 100 of the U.S. pop album charts, and included 3 U.S. country chart singles, Ain't No Money, I Wonder, and It Hasn't Happened Yet. Cash struggled with substance abuse during this time, and in 1984 she sought medical treatment. After a 3-year hiatus, Cash released her 4th studio album, Rhythm and Romance, which yielded 2 #1 hits, I Don't Know Why You Don't Want Me, and Never Be You, and 2 other country top 10 singles, Hold On, and Second to No One. Rhythm and Romance drew high critical praise for its fusion of country and pop. I Don't Know Why You Don't Want Me won the 1985 Grammy Award for Best Female Country Vocal Performance. Hold On won the 1987 Robert J. Burton Award from BMI as the most performed song of the year. In the 80s, Cash curtailed her touring for childbearing and raising a family. She continued to record and in 1987 released the most critically acclaimed album of her career, King's Record Shop. It spawned 4 #1 hits, including a cover version of her father's Tennessee Flat Top Box, John Hiatt's The Way We Make a Broken Heart, If You Change Your Mind, Jon Stewart's Runaway Train, and became Cash's second gold album. In 1988 Cash recorded a duet with Crowell, It's Such a Small World, which also went to #1 on the country charts, and Cash was named Billboard's Top Singles Artist of the Year. In 1989, Columbia released her first compilation album, Hits 1979 a Euro 1989. The album yielded 2 new hit singles, the Beatles cover I Don't Want to Spoil the Party, which landed at #1 on the Billboard Country charts, and Black and White, which earned Cash her 5th Grammy nomination. 1990 a Euro 1995, Break Up, Relocation in 1990, Cash released the critically acclaimed, deeply personal Interiors. Cash produced herself for the first time, and wrote or co-wrote all the songs. Her brutally dark take on intimate relationships was reflected throughout and made clear the marital problems that had been hinted at on earlier albums. Highly autobiographical, Interiors was a brilliant, introspective album, and her masterpiece. Other critics called it maudlin, and pessimistic. Interiors topped many Best Album lists in 1990, and received a Grammy Award nomination for Best Contemporary Folk Album. It yielded 1 top 40 single, and marked the beginning of sharp commercial decline for Cash. Though it may have been inspired by the breakup of her marriage, it also signified her departure from Nashville and its country music establishment. In 1991 Cash relocated to New York City. In 1992, she and Crowell divorced. The Wheel, released in 1993, was an unflinchingly confessional examination of the marriage's failure that ranked as her most musically diverse effort to date. The album was Cash's last for Columbia Records. It received considerable acclaim from critics, though neither of its 2 singles, The Wheel, or You Won't Let Me In, charted. 1995 a Euro present, New York, New Albums and Books Cash settled in Lower Manhattan, and in 1995 married producer-guitarist John Leventhal, with whom she had co-produced The Wheel. She signed with Capitol Records, and in 1996 released 10-song Demo, a collection of Stockholm recordings with minimal accompaniment. She also pursued a career as a writer, and in 1996 Hyperion published her short story collection Bodies of Water, to favorable reviews. In 1997, Cash was awarded an honorary doctorate from Memphis College of Art. She gave the commencement address that year and continues to speak publicly on writing and music. In 1998, she and Leventhal began working on what would later become Rules of Travel. The recording sessions were cut short when she became pregnant and was unable to sing for 2.5 years, due to a polyp on her vocal cords. Unable to record, Cash focused on her writing. Her children's book Penelope Jane, A Fairy's Tale, which included an exclusive CD, was published by HarperCollins in 2000, and in 2001 she edited a collection of short fiction by songwriters titled Songs Without Rhyme, Prose by Celebrated Songwriters. Recovering her voice, she resumed recording and in 2003, released Rules of Travel, her first full-fledged studio album for Capitol. The album had guest appearances by Sheryl Crow and Steve Earle, a song co-written by Joe Henry and Jacob Dylan, and the poignant September When It Comes, a duet with her father. Rules of Travel was nominated for a 2003 Grammy Award for Best Contemporary Folk Album. Cash was also an inaugural member of the Independent Music Awards judging panel to support independent artists. In 2005, Legacy Recordings reissued 7 Year Ache, King's Record Shop, and Interiors, plus a new collection spanning 1979–2003, The Very Best of Rosanne Cash. In 2006, Cash released Black Cadillac, an album marked by the loss of her stepmother, June, and father, Johnny, who both died in 2003. And her mother, Vivian, Johnny's first wife, who died as Rosanne finished the album in 2005. The album was critically praised, and named to the top 10 lists of the New York Times, Billboard, Pop Matters, NPR and other general interest and music publications. The album was nominated for a 2006 Grammy Award for Best Contemporary Folk Americana Album. Cash toured extensively in support of the album, and created a multimedia performance, with video, imagery and narration drawn from the songs and from Cash's family history. In 2006, a short documentary by filmmaker Steve Lippman, Mariners and Musicians, based on the album and interviews with Cash, premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival and was screened at festivals worldwide. Cash's music was also featured prominently in an American Masters biography of photographer Annie Leibovitz, who has photographed Cash and her family numerous times. In late 2007, Cash underwent brain surgery for a rare condition and was forced to cancel her remaining concert dates. After a successful recovery, she resumed writing and live appearances. In 2008 she wrote For Measure, the songwriter's column in the New York Times, recorded with Chris Christopherson and Elvis Costello, and appeared on Costello's TV series Spectacle. Cash released her next studio album, entitled The List, on October 6, 2009. The album is based on a list of 100 greatest country and American songs that Johnny Cash gave her when she was 18. Cash picked 12 songs out of the 100 for the album. The album features vocal duets with Bruce Springsteen, Elvis Costello, Jeff Tweedy, and Rufus Wainwright. An iTunes Store-only 13th song features a duet with Neko Case. On September 9, 2010, the Americana Music Association named the list the Album of the Year. In addition to her own recordings, Cash has made guest appearances on albums by Jeff Bridges, Rodney Crowell, Guy Clark, Vince Gill, Lyle Lovett, Mary Chapin Carpenter, Mark Cohn, The Chieftains, Jon Stewart, Willie Mason, Mike Doughty, and others, as well as children's albums by Larry Cohen, Tom Chapin, and Dan Zanes and Friends. She has also appeared on tribute albums to the band, Johnny Cash, Bob Dylan, Woody Guthrie, Jimi Hendrix, John Hiatt, Chris Christopherson, Laura Nyro, Yoko Ono, Doc Pomus and Tammy Wynette. In November 2011, Cash performed with a Minnesota orchestra. In preparation for the event, she worked with composer Stephen Barber to orchestrate 9 of her songs. The tourism organization Brand USA enlisted Cash to develop a song to promote foreign tourism to the United States. In April 2012, she released the song Land of Dreams, which was utilized by Brand USA in video advertisements and online as part of a global tourism campaign. On February 6, 2012, Cash received the AFTRA Media and Entertainment Excellence Award in Sound Recordings. Cash sang the part of Monique on the 2013 album Ghost Brothers of Darkland County, a collaboration between rock singer John Mellencamp and novelist Stephen King. Cash gave the closing speech at the Association of Performing Arts Presenters Conference, APAP-NYC, in January 2013. Rosanne Cash signed with Blue Note Records in 2013 to release a new original album. The River and the Thread was released on January 14, 2014. It is Cash's first album in more than 4 years. The River and the Thread is a collection of songs written with husband and collaborator John Leventhal, inspired by trips through the American South. Cash describes The River and the Thread as a mini travelogue of the South, and of the soul. The journey included visits to Father Johnny Cash, unregistered trademark S childhood home in Diaz, Arkansas, her own early childhood home in Memphis, Tennessee, William Faulkner, unregistered trademark S house, Dockery Farms in Cleveland, Mississippi, the plantation where Howlene, unregistered trademark Wolf and Charlie Patton worked and sang, Natchez, Mississippi, the Blues Trail, the Tallahatchie Bridge, as well as a visit with Natalie Channin, a master seamstress in Florence, Alabama. Throughout 2014, Cash toured extensively with partner John Leventhal, performing The River and the Thread in sequence with first-person stories woven through historical time to much critical acclaim. The River and the Thread was the #1 album of 2014 on Americana radio, and was honored by USA Today, The New York Times, The Village Voice, Rolling Stone, The Huffington Post, NPR Fresh Air, and Cut Magazine, No Depression, The Sun, and American Songwriter as one of the top albums of 2014. On February 8, 2015, Cash won 3 Grammy Awards for Best Americana Album for The River and the Thread, and Best American Roots Song with John Leventhal and Best American Roots Performance for A Feather's Not a Bird. In 2015, Cash was inducted into the Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame, honored as Artist in Residence at the Country Hall Music Hall of Fame and Museum, and selected as Carnegie Hall's 2015 to 2016 Perspective Series Artist. Personal life = family = Cash's parents, Johnny Cash and Vivian Liberto, were married in San Antonio, Texas, in 1954. She has 3 younger sisters, Kathy, Cindy and Tara. Johnny and Vivian divorced in 1966, and he married June Carter in 1968. Cash's stepsisters are country singers Carlene Carter and Rosie Nix Adams, also known as Rosie Carter, June Carter's daughters from her first 2 marriages. Johnny and June's son John Carter Cash is Rosanne's half-brother. Cash's stepmother and father died in 2003. Cash married country music singer-songwriter Rodney Crowell in 1979. They have 3 daughters, Caitlin, Chelsea and Carrie. Cash also raised Crowell's daughter, Hannah, from a previous marriage. Cash and Crowell divorced in 1992. She married her second husband, John Leventhal, in 1995, and they have 1 son, Jacob. Cash lives with her husband, son and youngest daughter in Chelsea, Manhattan. Sha'ari malformation = On November 27, 2007, Cash was admitted to New York's Presbyterian Hospital for brain surgery. In a press statement, she announced that she suffered from Sha'ari malformation type I and expected to make a full recovery. The surgery was successful, though recovery was slow, and in March 2008 she was forced to cancel her spring tour dates for further recuperation. She wrote about the experience in her New York Times article "Well, actually, it is brain surgery." She resumed writing, recording and performing in late summer of 2008. Other projects: Cash supports several charitable organizations. She is a longtime board member of the Center to Prevent Youth Violence, formerly known as PAX, an organization dedicating to preventing gun violence among children. She was honored by PAX at their 5th annual benefit gala in 2005. Cash is a frequent guest teacher at the English and songwriting programs of various colleges and universities including Le Moyne, Farley Dickinson and NYU. Cash has been associated with Children, Incorporated for more than 25 years and has sponsored many children through the organization, which works to support and educate needy children and young adults worldwide. She also works with Arkansas State University on the Johnny Cash Boyhood Home Project, which is working to restore her father's childhood home in Yes, Arkansas. The Cash family has supported the restoration by raising money through annual music festivals. Rosanne hosted the first and second annual Johnny Cash Music Festivals in 2011 and 2012. In 2014, Cash contributed essays to the Oxford American and the Book of Collected Essays edited by Sari Botton. Never Can Say Goodbye, Writers on Their Unshakable Love for New York. She was also featured in Gail Taya Unregistered Trademark S Portraits and Creativity as a featured artist for her profile series, Citation. Cash is a dedicated supporter of artists' unregistered trademark rights in the digital age and sits on the board of the Content Creators Coalition. On June 25, 2014, Cash testified before the House of Representatives, Judiciary Committee on Intellectual Property Rights and Internet Music Licensing. Discography. Books and articles, Cash, Rosanne. Bodies of Water. Harper Perennial. ISBN 978-0380729449. Cash, Rosanne. Penelope Jane, A Fairy's Tale. HarperCollins. ISBN 978-0060842307. Cash, Rosanne. Songs Without Rhyme, Prose by Celebrated Songwriters. Hyperion. ISBN 978-0786862771. Cash, Rosanne. Composed, a Memoir. Viking Press Penguin Group. ISBN 978-1-101-45769-6. Cash's work has also appeared in the New York Times, the Oxford American, New York Magazine, Newsweek, Rolling Stone, and Martha Stewart Living. References. External links, Rosanne Cash's official website, Rosanne Cash discography at Music Brains, NPR Music, Rosanne Cash artist page.